Andy Cohen recently stated that he was a victim of a fraud scam. I'm actually surprised that he even fell for something like that. This scam is basically, somebody calling you up saying that this is your bank, we've noticed fraud, all this other stuff, legit. I do not fall for that, because anybody that calls me up, I'm just like, okay, well, I'm going to call my bank up, or I'm going to call my insurance up, or like anybody that calls me that says I'm your credit card company, or I'm your whatever, I'm just like, okay, well, I will call back. Don't fall for whatever bullshit they give you. Anyway, but it seems that Andy Cohen did fall for the bullshit. But in his defense, it was because he actually legit did lose his debit card. So it was just like timing was perfect for him. Well, not for him. Let me take that back. Let me walk that back. Timing was perfect for the scammers. So he just happened to be scammed around the same time that he also lost his debit card. So it made him more vulnerable to falling victim to this kind of scam. Whereas I'm sure if he hadn't lost his debit card, he probably would have been like, click. But because he did fall for it. He said he received an email, and the email, it said it was a fraud. It said it was a fraud alert, and then he clicked on it, and it asked him information. And because he had lost his debit card, he fell for the scam. And then he was on the phone with someone. He said for an hour and 10 minutes with a woman. He started getting a little suspicious when they asked him for his Apple ID, which is like, why would his bank ask him for his Apple ID? So that was when he realized something was suspicious, something was not right, but by then it was too late. They already had his information, and he said that they were even able to convince him to forward his calls, so that, and to forward his messages, so that when his bank tried to contact him about these large wire transactions, that he wasn't able to get the message, because usually your bank will do that. Like I've noticed, even with my credit card, my American Express card, if there is like a high, and they know your spending habit. If you're only spending like $5, $10 every few days, and then all of a sudden you have like a $500 charge, they're like, what the fuck? They were able to convince him to forward his calls and his messages, so that even when his bank tried to get a hold of him to approve those messages, it actually was forwarded to the scammers, and the scammers were able to approve those messages. And he said that he had very large sums of money withdrawn for 2 of his accounts. He's in the process of trying to get those money back. I hope he's successful. It's like really hard to get that money back, though. A lot of times it's very difficult to get that money back, because wire transfer especially, it goes through, like, even if it doesn't go through most, like, there's a limit on how much, most banks will have a limit, but even like even if there is a limit, it's usually like 3 business days. Like 3 business days, the money is gone. And then once that money is gone, it's very hard to get back, especially if these wire transfers go to other countries like the Bahamas, the Cayman Islands, the freaking Switzerland, where the fuck. So it's very hard to get that money back. I hope he's successful in getting that back. Guys, next, let's talk about Andy Cohen's response to Jen Shah. Jen Shah hopped onto her Instagram story to like say, if I gave Heather a black eye, don't you think that Bravo would blah, 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 have like the footage or show the footage or whatever the fuck? And then she was saying some other crap like, oh, Andy Cohen is just mad because he didn't get that one-on-one with me and all this other stuff. Somebody on my Instagram, one of my Instagram followers, she hopped on, she left a comment that said that, that's not Jen Shah commenting. It's probably like a friend or an assistant or something, because she's in jail and you can't get onto Instagram or Bravo on jail. That's not true. That is not true. Jen Shah is in federal prison, in a low security prison. The best example that I could give you is Teresa from Real Housewife of New Jersey. But guys, even if you don't want to use Teresa as an example, Martha Stewart. Yes. Fucking Martha Stewart. Like when you're going to Walmart and you're buying your cookie platters, that Martha Stewart, the one with the cookbooks and the freaking home decor and whatever the fuck. Martha Stewart was in federal prison. And here's the thing, though. A lot of people, like, these are white collar crimes. They're not considered violent crimes. They're white collar. They're basically financial crimes where you're like mortgage fraud, tax evasion, freaking insurance scams. Those are all like white collar crimes. And yes, they are felony crimes, but they're white collar. They're not. They are not something that is considered violence because these crimes only hurt the businesses or the people financially. Anyway, so she's not in like if you guys are picturing Jen Shah in like freaking in a cell like Oz or something. I don't know if you guys ever watch Oz. Maybe you guys don't even know what the hell I'm talking about. There used to be a prison show on HBO called Oz. But anyway, so if you guys are like imagining Jen Shah in a prison like that, that's not where she's at. Like instead, you guys need to like it's not what you guys are thinking. Plus, she only has she's doing a 5-year prison sentence, which means she's going to get out even earlier than 5 years. Like they gave her 5 years, so she's probably going to get out in 3. So she's already considered like short term. Like she's not somebody who's going to be spending like 30 years behind bars. So she's most likely going to get out like in 3 years or something. And you are not restricted in the same way that you are restricted when you are at like state prison or when you are, again, perfect example, Teresa from Real Housewives of New Jersey. Like her family would legit be FaceTiming her while she was in prison on the phone. Like, how do you think she was getting on the fucking phone to FaceTime? Like, so it's not as restrictive as you think it is. Like, yes, it is still prison and it still sucks. And I'm sure, it's still awful for her, but it's not like, it's not what you're thinking. It's not the same as her being in state prison for, killing somebody. So yes, that was Jen Shah who hopped on to say all that shit. And even the way she wrote it seemed like it was her. And this is somebody who doesn't even follow her like that. But anyway, Andy Cohen hopped on to his podcast to address it. He basically was like, first of all, her saying that if we had the footage, we would have shown it makes no sense because yes, if we had the footage, we would have shown it. So it's two ends of the same sword, right? Because she's saying, well, if they had the footage, they would have shown it. But Andy Cohen's basically throwing back that same argument to her, saying, well, yes, if we had the fucking footage, we would have shown it. It's whichever side you believe. I personally believe Andy Cohen on this because absolutely, if Bravo had that fucking footage, they would have shown it. And then Andy Cohen, he was feeling a certain way because he was like, look, 2 days ago, I got fucking robbed. I got scammed. I got schemed. And she's in prison for fucking fraud. So you already know how I'm feeling about this. He didn't say it in those exact words. But guys, if you watch me on YouTube, if you listen to me on the podcast, you already know I retell stuff in my own words. So he basically said that he was like, look, I fucking had a lot of money stolen from me 2 days ago. She's in prison for fraud. Now, I'm not saying that she was connected to this, but I'm saying that that's what she's in prison for, so I'm already feeling a certain way. You could tell that Andy Cohen was feeling hot. He was feeling hot under the collars. He was bothered by it. Guys, I did not sleep. Today is the first day back for the kids, and I did not sleep, but I'm like, this is the time to do it now because, my baby's asleep, so I'm, half awake. The coffee isn't working for me. Well, anyway, and then he also said that, okay, her with the one-on-one interview, yes, I did want a one-on-one interview with her, but her demands were fucking crazy. She wanted a lot of money. Then she wanted kind of like a docuseries and all this other stuff and, whatever, all this other stuff. So, look. People who were saying that Jen Shah made the show and that they're gonna give her seat back when she gets out of jail. No, Andy Cohen is feeling a certain way about Jen Shah, and Jen Shah is not coming back. Jen Shah needs to go hang out with Nene and Bethany and whoever else the fuck because she's not coming back. But guys, I have the audio. You want to listen to it? Listen to it.
As someone who was just the victim of an online and phone scam where I lost a lot of money, this message comes at an interesting time. So let me just say that. I just need to predicate that I'm a current victim of fraud, which is what she is in jail for. I'm not connecting her to what I'm not saying that she's responsible for it, but I'm just saying it's ironic.
But it's a hateful
that
thing
I
she was
happen
involved
to,
in. Yeah.
Yes. So I just have to point that out. Let me point out, I don't want to be Captain Obvious here, but if we had footage, don't you think we would have aired it? Do you think we wouldn't have said, Heather saying, I don't know how I got the black eye. And then don't you think we would have cut to the footage and with a chyron that said 4 hours earlier, pop.
Yeah. Graphic content warning.
That's first of all, that's quite obvious. Second of all, I had forgotten about the one-on-one with Jen. She is right. I did want to do a one-on-one with her. I don't care about it anymore. I'm over it. Her stipulations were insane. She wanted in exchange for this. I'm trying to remember the specifics. I know she wanted us to do a docuseries of her days leading up to jail. She wanted a lot of money, and she was still professing her innocence. So it would have been another interview of her sitting across from me, lying to my face, which we got at 2 reunions from her.